Hello and welcome. My name is A. Catherine Noon, and I'm here with my good friend Tina Holland, who is an author at the RT Booklovers Convention today in Las Vegas, Nevada. So welcome, Tina. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, other than attending the convention, let's see, our first night we kind of settled into our rooms. That was Monday when I gave our first broadcast. Tuesday we did some shopping at the Forms at Caesar's Palace. Last night we took a very long walk from the Luxor all the way over to the Bellagio. So we had some very sore feet, but we got to see a wonderful show there. So that's been nice. We've been eating mostly in our hotel. We've enjoyed the Luxor buffet when we went there last night. We've been eating at the Palms is where we're staying. So we're not live at the Rio per se, but yeah, we've had some wonderful food here. Considering that it's a smaller buffet by Vegas standards, it's very nice. They have quite a variety, and they seem to pull all the really maybe foods that people are looking for away from home. So that's been very nice.
And what's the show like at the Bellagio?
Actually, so it's a water show out front if you've never been to Vegas. We actually videotaped it on our other phone. I'm with my good friend Crystal, so she's traveling with us. And so we did that. And we walked, I mean, well, let's see, we walked through a ton of the casinos. We walked through New York, New York. We walked through Caesars. We bought souvenir shops like everything else. I got a shot glass for my husband, and it had like little boobs on it, so I think he'll be very pleased with it. He should be quite happy. So yeah, we've kind of done all the touristy things while we were here, which was one other great reason to come to this city, just because you could see all the things that you maybe missed and I haven't been here for a while. So a lot has changed. I mean, there's new hotels since I've last been here. I think I was last here in like 2008, so it's been a while. And so there's new hotels, and yeah, so a lot more people, a lot more tourists. It seems to be a kind of a new city. But I imagine Vegas is like that all the time, where it changes all the time. So
What's your favorite thing that you've done so far?
oh, tourist-wise, I think I did enjoy the walk. I didn't mind it, and I did like the show. I thought that was beautiful, and I love classical music anyway, so I thought that was lovely. We've had highlights for my classes. I've had some great classes, so we can talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
I would love to. So what have you attended so far?
Well, actually, this morning I went to a class called Churning It Out, like right away this morning, and I got to sit in there for 15 minutes, and it was a little bit about how to really pump out words as a writer. So I thought that was great. It was hosted by Laura Kay, Jennifer L. Armitrout, and Rebecca Zanetti, and I apologize to all those authors if I said your names incorrectly. Um, but it was a wonderful class, and it was really about how to take your time and find the right pieces that would help you get out work. And these women are very successful. They've written 25 and 30 books in like 5 years. So as an author, that's a bit daunting, because I know I've written 10 books in 10 years. So I mean, I'm not churning it out quite that fast. So it was really interesting. It was well over capacity, so I didn't stay for the entire class, but according to the authors, they're going to offer it again next year. So if you do go to RT, which is going to be in Atlanta next year, or Hot Atlanta, as they are saying, and they are able to offer that class, I would highly recommend it for a writer who's looking to really just punch out some words. Also today, I attended a trends class on where we see the market going as writers for readers. What are readers looking for? And there was a lot of talk about how it's really the Wild West. You can kind of publish anything and someone out there wants to read it, but it seems to be very difficult for readers to find writers. So they might read one kind of author, and maybe that author they're waiting on the next book, but how do they find an author that writes like that? So there was a lot of conversations about metadata. So that's information that an author puts behind the scene, either on their web page, or their publisher will put it behind the scene on their web page so that readers can find it. On the panel was a librarian, a lady from Goodreads, one of the RT reviewers, and a blogger reviewer. So it was kind of a broad spectrum of what writers or readers would go to find writers. So that was very interesting, but it talked a lot about what they thought was coming up in the market and what they're seeing trend-wise. The librarian and the Goodreads person were both talking about how they're seeing a lot of stuff, and the range on this is very, very interesting. More readers are looking for inspirational or clean romances, paranormal romances, which people thought were kind of on the downslide, but it seems to be coming back up, and then erotic romance. So it seems, but they're trying to find a very either niche specific market, like maybe for erotic romance, they're looking for BDSM, or they're looking for male, or something like that. The other thing that came up regarding erotic romance was that the bar for erotic romance, where it was 10 years ago, has shifted. So there's a lot of fluidity in the market right now. So your mainstream publishers are probably publishing hotter, like a hotter romance than they used to, your traditional publishers. So the erotic romance has really become more of a genre where it's got to be super hot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so maybe your erotic romance might be considered more your male, your menage, your BDSM, so it's a little more, whereas 10 years ago when I wrote erotic romance, and I'm thinking I should probably attend a trends, like a marketing your career over your career. 10 years when I wrote erotic romance, I wrote hot, and now I'm probably in a standard of traditional romance that has really broadened out. So, and I think that's where they were saying when readers are looking for erotic romance and inspirational and clean romances, they're looking for something that's on either side of that standard, because that standard has become much bigger than it used to be. So that was really interesting. And basically how to get readers to find you. So if you're writing a very specific genre, like if you're writing that zombie horror love story, how do you get readers to find you, So not that I have, but I'm sure someone has. So how do you get them to find you? So that was very interesting. So.
When we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about the metadata and picking keywords on either side of it. Can you say a little bit more about that for the writers in the audience?
Yeah, so for writers in the audience, especially those of you that are self-publishing, when you go out to self-publish your works on, like if you do it on Smashwords, I guess Smashwords will do it for you. From what I understood in the class, I don't self-publish, so I apologize if I'm getting any of this wrong, but feel free to chime in either on the chat group or send us an email and we'll get the correct information. But what I was going to say was they look at the data and you're allowed so many taglines. Like if you think about when you do a blog post, you put in taglines so that people can find that blog post, like hot man, heroes, whatever it is, military. So when you're writing about specific things, you want to, if you're only given 2 taglines, you want to be as broad as you can. So if you're writing romance, you want to put romance, right? But if you're writing zombie horror romance or something like that, you want to be specific, and that would be your secondary tag so that readers can find you. What happens a lot of times is if you're writing a ghost story, people might have 2 taglines and they might use paranormal and they might use romance, but then you're getting lumped in with all the other paranormal. So you're getting lumped in with dragons, werecats, wolves, those kinds of shifters, as well as witches and any other paranormal elements that there may be. So it was really how to drill down to find that readers, and that's what they're talking about. Then they look in metadata, and then another term that I had never heard before, but I just heard today, and I think it's pronounced bisect, and that's also what is used to describe those things specifically when you're looking at books, though. So if you're looking at books on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Kobo, that's you're looking for those tags, and that's metadata behind the scenes. So
makes sense. Now, I understand you went to the Nice Girls Writing Naughty Party. That's the group. What was that like?
I did go to the Nice Girls Writing Naughty. I'm going to show you this little postcard that I got. So it was a wonderful party. I had a very good time. And I also met, I didn't get a chance yesterday. They did kind of a gambling theme event, and it was packed. It was standing room only in there for sure, and they had all these tables set up, and it was wonderful. People got to interact with the authors, but it was also like some social gaming too, so it wasn't really uncomfortable for the reader, and it was hard to get in that room. There wasn't enough spots to stand around, so I really just kind of hung back and watched. I got to meet Ella Sheridan, who is a member of Nice Girls Writing Naughty today. I met her. She happened to be in one of the same classes that I was in. It was on organizing your writing or whatever, and that was wonderful. And so, yeah, I got to meet her. So we'll probably maybe get together and chat or something throughout the week. But yeah, it was a wonderful event, and it seemed like readers really enjoyed it. There were a lot of giveaways. People got to meet their authors, and sometimes too, as a reader, I know that I go in and I expect an author to look a certain way, so it's really interesting to go to a lot of these events hosted for readers, and you're like, what? I was totally not expecting that to be you, but yeah, it was really good. So, and I think it looks like the readers had a wonderful time, so that's just great. So yeah, I think it's very hard for some authors and some writers to predict what are readers going to want to do when they're here, but boy, readers just seem to embrace whatever they're doing at these events. And I know there was a couple of things that I wanted to go to. Like, actually, I was surprised. There was a military appreciation event going on today, and my roommate Crystal and I were going to go because both of our husbands are in the military, and so we thought, oh, we'll go. And in the past when I've gone to that event, it has been quiet, informal affair, which is sort of unusual. This time there was a line wrapped around the thing, and we're like, okay. And the room was very small, though. We thought it was. We're not sure because we weren't able to get in. But there's been a lot of those kinds of events where people have waited and they've just not been able to get in. And I've actually taken some pictures that I have to post online. I took a picture of the line outside of the Naughty Girls Writing Nice. It was huge. As a matter of fact, I was like, well, I'm just going to wait until this thing shortens up, and I'm just taking pictures of myself and the line behind me, and so I'll have to get those out. And so, yeah, it's been like that, and it's been crazy. And so, and it's really those opportunities as an author. If you ever come to an event like that and there are people standing in line, a lot of authors have taken advantage of that, passing out their promo, talking to readers, because really they're waiting to meet authors, and sometimes there's an author right in front of them and they don't even know it. And so a lot of times we've been standing in line, and I'll say, what kind of books are you interested in reading? And if they're interested in what I write, I will usually give them my card and then offer them a free book. If they're not interested in what I write, I usually recommend someone else that writes what they're specifically interested in. So, and the Lord knows enough of us writers know enough other writers that write something that you want to read. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, it's been wonderful. So, and it's really been a chance to interact, even if you're not in those author-labeled events.
So what are you planning on doing now that the convention goes through, I understand, Sunday? So What are you planning on doing between now and then?
So some stuff, we haven't really had a chance to hit the RT Club, which will have, there's some gift baskets and stuff there, but there's also some businesses that are in there as well. So we're going to go ahead and walk through that at some point. Also tomorrow, there's actually a social media fair, which I'm very interested in attending, and it's really about business people that connect with authors. So bloggers and people that do cover art and those types of things. So that's kind of what we're looking for, that I'm looking for anyway, because while I'm not thinking about self-publishing, it is stuff that I want to look at and understand. So that's one of the things I'll be going to, and that's tomorrow. And then on Saturday is their giant book fair. So if you are a reader and you live in Las Vegas, you should totally come out for that because it's open to the public at a pretty reasonable rate, and you will meet all kinds of authors. So you'll meet some of the ones that I talked about, like Laura Kay, Sylvia Day, Heather Graham, there's Sherry Adair. There's a ton of people out here. So if there's, and there's a list online, so you can go ahead and find out. And that's a huge event. It's like 4 to 6 hours long. I don't even know how long it is. It's a big event. So I'll be going to that as well. I didn't think I was going to initially, but I've met some lovely authors that'll be signing, so I do want to, kind of promote them and their work, and maybe we'll even buy some books while I'm there. I hadn't planned on it, but I think I might. And then on Sunday, I probably won't make this as well because unfortunately we are flying out on Sunday, but on Sunday there's also an indie author, so for smaller presses, there's some independent authors that'll be kind of a little mini book fair. So if you're not into crowds or you're a little anxious about that sort of thing, it'd be a wonderful opportunity to meet some new authors that are published in smaller venues and maybe really get a chance for some one-on-one experiences. So
that sounds terrific. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell our readers before we close for the evening?
No, I mean, I can't think of anything except that this has really been a wonderful experience, and I am glad that you guys decided to do this and we can share it, for people who haven't come or haven't been or wonder what it's like. So I would say even after we're done with this broadcast, if people have questions, go ahead and send them in and we will try and answer them, or maybe we plan again next year and we just get much, much better at it.
I'm sorry, I had a technical difficulty there.
That's okay.
Okay, I think I'm back. We're going to cross our fingers that I'm actually back. I think we just lost Chrissy, but thank you so much for attending tonight. And like Chrissy said, if you have any questions, feel free to email us or put a comment in the blog where I will post this later on tonight. And we'll do our best to get back to you with some answers. But you have a lovely rest of your week. And I will wish Chrissy well for you. It looks like she wasn't able to come back either. We're having some technical problems here. So thank you again for attending and have a lovely evening.